Hey guys, one more another video on the Inside Spurs Show. Happy Thursday evening to you all. Hope we're all okay. Hope we're all right and looking after ourselves on this mighty fine Thursday. In this video, we're going to be talking about Fulham's left back Antonee Robinson as Spurs is supposed in the Fulham left back. We're also going to be talking a little bit about Lukeba and the interest in the Leipzig defender. We'll be talking about, there's a small update on Kudus, but it's really irrelevant. There's no real development in that deal. So we'll be talking about that. Yeah, quite a bit to sort of get into in this one. Obviously, tragic news that came out today on Diogo. Just to spend a quick second on there. Obviously, I was at work today, and the group chat's blowing up, and it was Marcus. So I just thought it was a chance of story, and I was like, oh, Jota's leaving, and obviously you read it a bit more deeper. I was in a Microsoft Teams meeting, and I read it a bit deeper, and it's absolutely tragic what's happened, and commiseration. Sorry, not commiserations. That's not the right word, but thoughts and feelings go out to the family, the friends, the loved ones. It's much bigger than football. It is much bigger than football. It's irrelevant what football team you support. That's two brothers who, their parents obviously they lose their two sons, siblings losing siblings, kids losing dads, partners losing partners. It's horrible. So look, it's a good omen to always remember the key things in life. Okay, that's why it's always me saying, hope your Thursday's going well. Look after yourselves, take care, all those things. It might be little things that just makes you appreciate things that little bit more. So rest in peace to Diogo. And life can be cruel. Life can be cruel. Moving into the video, let's talk a little bit about Spurs, and let's talk about Antonee Robinson. And this sort of came out yesterday from Paul O'Keefe, who need to shave my mustache. He said that Fulham left back Antonee Robinson is on Tottenham's radar. Now, again, for me, it isn't brand new news. We've been linked to Antonee Robinson before, and just to continue the trend of the things that I said previous. Good player. I rate him. I do. It's a left back, first and foremost. Let me start with this one. It's a left back. Thank you. Good news that we're getting some left back interest. Oh, a left back's on our radar. That's nice. They've listened to me. I've complained about it for enough time. They've listened to say that we might need to get a left back. But in all seriousness, I don't see Spurs spending the money that's going to take on Antonee Robinson. Not every player that we're going to sign this summer is 50 plus million. It might shock you. It might scare you. It might blow you away. It's not what we do. It's not what we do. Antonee Robinson, 3 years left on his contract, 27 years old. He turns 28 in August. Another thing to sort of take into account, okay? 136 games played in the Premier League. He's got 17 assists. He's actually not scored in the Premier League. And I don't know why I find that so shocking. But he's not scored in 136 games. And he gets forward so much. Mental, really. But in the 24-25 season, so the season that's just been, durable. He played 36 of the 38 Premier League games. 10 assists. It's an assist, nearly every 4 games. That's quite impressive. Okay. 3 years left in his contract. I mean, what transfer market, what they value him as 35 million euros. It's not going to be that. I'm going to be honest, it's not going to be that. You're talking about 30 million. There's no way. It was 3 years left of his contract from a team who, one good season. Look at Crystal Palace. They're in the Europa League. Brighton have made the Europa League. Lesser teams than even those guys in the past have made the Premier League. If you have one really solid run, and that could be via a cup, or it could be via the league. Fulham, I think, might feel they're on a bit of a cusp there. I'm so glad, by the way, that Rodrigo Muniz interest has died down. Very glad about that. That feels like a chance of signing in itself. I swear to God, if that comes back up. But in all seriousness, I don't see them doing it. I think next summer would be the summer they'd look to do it again. 28 years old, we'll call it, by the start of the season. I mean, by the time we play the Super Cup, he's 28. Okay. I've always been really fair about this as well. And it's something that I'm trying to get a bit more into, the discussion with you guys, is the ability to resell players. And it's not because I want to make profits. It's more so to just get players off the books. Because I think what you've seen over the last 2 to 3 seasons is we continuously buy and buy and buy and buy and buy, and at times buy poorly. And it's such an issue to get off of those players. We need to be smarter at that. And that's why I think Spurs have kind of gone the young player route as well. If it doesn't work out, you can move off of them. If they're half decent, you'll be able to get some money back. If they're great, then you've made serious plays on it. We do obviously need experience. I'm not going to deny that. I do kind of feel like this is too far gone that way. And again, it's not a dig at, by the way, it's not a dig at Robinson. He's a good player. I'm not denying that. It's just the age concern. It's like when we talk about Paulinho and he's going to be in his 30s. It's just, why would we do that? In 2 years' time, you're going to try and want to move on from him, and who's going to take him? The whole, Saudi, they'll buy your players. I don't think it's the case anymore. There are players that, they will, but that's like your main, like Son. Son feels like one of the last few big name over the age of sort of 31, 32 players they'd look at because of the marketability. And obviously he's still a good player, but the marketability for Saudi, I think, is massive when it comes to buying players. That's why they give Ronaldo so much money. Ronaldo's not worth that money. He's not. Benzema, Kante, but actually they looked at the Gabri Vega route. They're trying to go the younger player route, or, a solid player route, and I think that's why you're not going to get, like, they could have taken Casemiro a year ago. They just don't want to. They just don't see the value in it. They looked at, solid names in their 20s, and it's worked for them. I mean, look at Al Hilal. Al Hilal knocked Man City out of the Club World Cup, and Juve got absolutely lumped by Man City. So you're not going to have that option, in my opinion. So that's why I say about, Robinson, 3 years, he's 31. You've got to take that into account. He's not going to be great in 5 years' time. I think he has his ability, but you'd have to say he'd definitely be at the end of his prime, though. So he's going to be, for sure, he will be on the down slope, and he will not get any better. He will continue to lose value. So, by the way, I have seen all of you saying good evening and everything. Good evening to you all. I haven't missed any of you. Sonic LA Galaxies, I don't know about that. Cole Capita's maybe, well, again, let's just see. Let's just see on that. We're not selling Destiny. No. But then again, let's be real. I've always been talking about the idea of you need rotational options. And that's not to say that player's a squad player. No, we have 2 really good options at left back, and we will rotate them to keep them healthy and fit. What you don't want is Desi Udogie, who I think is absolutely brilliant, and someone who's knackered and rubbish, because that's not rotation. That isn't. That is, he's the backup. He's basically a squad player, and that's not what top teams do. Top teams don't just go and get squad players. At least not like how Spurs do it. Spurs will get a really solid 11. This has always been Spurs' issues. Their 11 is really solid. They'll have 2 or 3 all right subs, and the rest are below. They're just below tier. They're just not good enough. And so you need to have those options. Will it be Robinson? I don't think so. I can't see him spending 50. I think it's going to cost nearly about 50 million. I really do. 40 million is my minimum, I think, that it's going to cost. And if that's the case, I can't see it happening. Would I want Robinson? I think Robinson would be brilliant to add to the squad. I mean, you've got Robinson and Destiny Udogie. You'd have the best left back room in potentially football. Not just the Premier League. I just think football. But I can't see it. I just cannot see it, Even Jazz, right. Robinson is homegrown, even though he's an American, right? International. I'd have to look into it. Don't know anything about it, Chief. I'm happy because we're rooming for a left back. I'm happy we're rooming for left back. It's something. It's something to hold on to. just how long can I hold on to it? I really don't know, because I just can't see it. I just can't. I don't know. Maybe I'm being the pessimistic, but I just cannot see it. It's just the age that gives me that concern. Um, Heads up on Kudus. I'm just going to rattle through this one really quickly. Nothing's really happened in the Kudus front. Okay, Spurs obviously had that rejected bids. Personal terms shouldn't be a problem. If they're a problem, then I dread to think how much he's asking for. He wants Champions League football. We know that. And West Ham want to sell him because they want to rebuild the squad. So, I mean, they paid like 40 odd million for him. So they're going to want a benchmark of, profit on that. I would love to know, and this is just me speaking aloud on Kudus, and it's nothing about the player and quality. I'd love to know what the figure looks like for Spurs to walk away. If it's anything below that figure, great. If it hits that figure, we're walking away. I'd love to know where that line is drawn, because they drew the line on Eze for 68. They've drawn the line on Semenyo, which is 65. I'm keen to know where that line is, because those are two players they've drawn the line on, right? On terms of value. So with Kudus, I feel like it has to be 65, because there's no way in God's green earth does anyone think Kudus is worth more than players like Eze, in my opinion. Like, you can think he's better, but he's not going to be worth crazy amounts more. Oh, he's younger. Well, then so Xavi Simons is worth miles more than Kudus then. He's worth 100 million. So you see what I mean? I think the line is 65. 65. If it's any more than that, I think we walk away. I do. I know people saying that, hey, Chelsea want Kudus. Well, Chelsea tried to sign Kudus a few years ago. So did Brighton. He ended up not going and ended up going to West Ham. Chelsea are signing Gittins. I think that's getting done like today, isn't it? Or something like that. I think I saw something earlier. I don't know why I'm sitting like this. Just leave me alone. All right. I think there is gonna come a point, and I know people think that Chelsea have. Newcastle have sent a £55 million bid for Antonee Elanga. Wow. Fair play. Okay. But yeah, I think 65. If it's anything like genuinely, if it's more than 65, we are being robbed. I think we're being robbed at 60, but there has to come a point where you go, he's not worth 65 million. Like, you can get value. Like I said, a guy gives you, I think you can get a guy for 30 odd million is going to give you 15 goal contributions in the Premier League. That's what Kudus gives you. I think you can get someone for half the price. And that's where I think there has to be the line drawn there, because we still have holes in this squad that we need to fill. Like I said, we need the left back. What's going on at centre back? Still potentially need that number 6. You still potentially need a striker or an attacker. So I would love to know where that line's drawn, And look, obviously the other two teams, if they're in and active, then obviously it's like an auction, isn't it? Thumbs up, apparently. Not really trying to give you one, but all right. If obviously they're continuing to bid and offer and offer and offer, then the price is going to rise and rise and rise. But you also have to be wary that they may be interested, but you also may be bidding against yourself. So you're raising the price on your own. Again, I just think have a hard number and you exit. You do whatever it is. If it's 65 million, that's the number. If they ask for 66, we pull out. We don't go there. I'd love to know what that number is. And look, you guys, I'm happy for you to give me your suggestion of what that number may be to you. But I'm thinking, obviously, because they've had an offer rejected in sort of the 50s, I think 60 is as far as it should go. And that should be on add-ons front, in my opinion. And I know people go, look at his 23-24 season. It's like, well, in 23-24, I had a much better head of hair and I could grow a bigger beard. And I didn't have stupid tan lines that I do right now. But it's not that. That's 23-24. It's now 24-25, and he took a backward step. So the value should drop accordingly. Yes, there may be Tottenham tax due to it being West Ham. Fine. But again, that's why you have a hard out. I think 60 million is the hard out. 60 million is the hard out. Anything more than that, just be like, no, you keep him. You want to do the they think is also they want to do the rebuild. They want the money. So you've got to be careful about bidding against yourself. That was my thinking on it. It wasn't anything to do, like, there's no new news on Kudus. The stories that people are sort of listening to, they're irrelevant and nothing's coming out. Yeah. That's that, Is it choose Spurs tax on every transfer? No, it's not. There's Premier League tax on every transfer. I can promise you there's Premier League tax on every transfer. Because it's the Premier League. It's where all the money is. Sell Kuti, Richie, Basuma, Davies. Don't sell Kuti. Fine. Go for the others. Again, though, it's super irrelevant what we all want players sold and players to be. It's Thomas Frank hasn't trained the players. Thomas Frank hasn't seen the players. Thomas Frank hasn't got to know the players. It's going to take time. And this was the key thing I will continue to repeat. I don't care if you like Ange or not. It's actually really irrelevant if you like Ange, by the way. Okay. If you sack a manager, the new manager is going to need time to see what he's working with, see who he wants to keep. Because if he wants to keep Basuma and Richarlison, then you have to back him and say, yeah, we'll keep them. You then can sell someone else. But you until he does that, it's really irrelevant. He might want Man or Solomon. You have to factor this in. I know Solomon, Leeds Live sent that Solomon fancy staying at Spurs. It's like, well, yeah, of course he wants to stay at Spurs. It's Spurs. No offense to Leeds. But I also want that 15 million. If we've got cash flow problems, that's an easy one. But again, if Frank wants him, you've got to keep him. That's the way it is. You back the manager to what he wants. If you want him to deliver you success, then you have to deliver him options. If we paid 65 million for Kudus, I'll be annoyed. As a plan A, Kudus plan B, look forward to plan C people, Tyler Dibbling, or Simmons, who's apparently 67 mil now. Well, if Simmons is 67 million, then we don't need to have a conversation about anyone else, in my opinion, because he's cheaper than Eze, ironically. And he's also better than Kudus, and he's better than Semenyo. I cannot stress how good Xavi Simmons is, and it actually irks me how good he is. Kuti's got no pace and liability. Okay. Oh, jeez. I'm going to move on from that one. I'm not spending any time there. How are Chelsea still spending money? We're not even Manchester United. Well, Chelsea had a lot of space with FFP. They find ways around it. They then exploit those ways around it and then build on it. And that's how they do it. Also, they spread every single deal out over a long period of time. Before the rule came in, they were spreading out deals over years and years and years, longer than the maximum now. And that's how they do it. That is how they do it. We can't really do anything. Frank hasn't met the players. So I get, like, I was on Spurs Connect with James, and I sort of said, look, we haven't had training yet. Frank hasn't met the players. If by the end of this month we've signed one player, then yeah, we'd have a concern. It's the same thing about selling players. If we've only sold one player by the end of this month, you'd have a concern. But we're in July 3rd. Let's just chill. Let's just chill out a little bit. Well, Liverpool have acted, and Man City have acted, and Man United have acted. It's like, okay, those three clubs, can you tell me what one thing is they have in common? And if you look in the dugout, can you tell me the one main thing they have in common? Yes, they're managers who are at the end of last season are the managers at the start of this season. We have changed that. Therefore, you are pushing back the time of your window. Now, it means you should be busier for longer, but you push back that window because obviously the manager needs now time, the new one, to see what we got. So that's it. That's it. So, even though that's how I mate. There is news that Kuti. No, what I'll be real, right? If any of you sit there and believe the Spanish reports on Kuti, I'm sorry to say, 99.99999999999% of them are absolute crap. They're fabricating Romero talking about Spurs and things like that. Like, let's just relax. Let's just relax. Take a chill. It's a nice day outside. You see the sun. You see the sun here on a lovely Gareth Bale t-shirt. Tranquillo. When will Frank meet the players? When we're back for training? Well, Liverpool just won the league. City want to fight for the league again, and United lost the final, and they want to make sure that ain't happening again. They might not get to another final. You never know. Football works in mysterious ways. Right, Castello Lukeba, however you may want to say it. Football Cards saying that Spurs are one of the interested clubs in the Leipzig defender. Player profile, he's 22 years old. He turns 23 in December. Contract expires in the summer of 2029. Centre-back, plays for Leipzig. He's played 58 times in Ligue 1, 55 times in the Bundesliga, 12 times in the Champions League, handful of cup competitions as well. French international, he is capped. Couple of things on this one. Leipzig are probably selling Sesko, although that's got a bit quiet. That has got a bit quiet, but you would expect them to sell Sesko. Simmons wants to leave. Let's say they get 80 million for Sesko and 70 million for Simmons, okay? Just humour me. It might be a bit more, it might be a bit less, but just humour me. It's 150 million. They're not selling another player on top of that. He's got 4 years left on his contract. They're in no rush to sell him. It's like, it's the same sort of situation as Adam Wharton and Spurs going, oh, any Spurs fan that goes, Adam Wharton, oh, let's get Adam Wharton, 50 mil, whee. It's like you're getting Adam Wharton's boots for 50 mil, mate. He's got multiple years left on his contract. They're selling Gray. They may sell, as they obviously sold Elise the summer before. They don't need the money. They've got European football. Wharton's value will be closer to 100 million than 50 million, in my opinion. Not happening. It is not happening, right? Lukeba is not happening unless he demands to leave, which I doubt he is demanding to leave. He's 22, he's 23, leave next summer, where, yeah, there might be a few clubs that are a bit more interested. There might be, Spurs maybe a bit more in the centre-back market if Romero was to go. And, Man United might be in the centre-back market if things don't improve for them. And Chelsea will obviously still be in there because it's Chelsea and they sign every player under the sun. Liverpool, Van Dijk's getting a bit older, and obviously you've got, Konate that could leave. Obviously, the Mark Guay might go there, but you might need to get another one. And so it's a lot of things to take into account. I think the centre-back market next summer, I think, will be a really interesting summer. I think there's a lot of teams that would be interested in them. So, yeah, I don't think he's leaving. I don't think he's leaving at all. I think it's just nonsense reporting, if I'm honest. So, yeah, not happening. Again, I think Frank's going to want to see what he's got in Vuskovic, Phillips, Radu. Obviously, Radu's here. Like, the amount of people go, oh, just sell Radu in the summer. It's like, he can't pass a medical. So how do you expect him to be sold? And then you watch him go, And it's like, yeah, he can't be sold. If you can't pass a medical, you ain't being sold. And it's not like he can't pass a medical because he's got a bruised toe. No, he destroyed his knee. No team is going to take a risk on him when you destroyed your knee. Because guess what? Once you do it once, you're more likely to do it a second time and a third time and a fourth time. See, Fofana at Chelsea, who's done it twice. So, I mean, hell, I've done it, and my knee does not feel 100%, and I'm not even a pro footballer. So, yeah, I don't see it's happening at all. I don't see it happening at all whatsoever. But look, thank you so much for joining me this evening. Please go and enjoy the rest of your evenings. Make the most of your evenings. Make the most of your days. Obviously, if you're in England, it's a lovely summer's day. The sun's actually gone off the bell shirt now, but it's a lovely day. Please enjoy the rest of your evenings. Think about today and what's happened. Make the most of every day possible. I'll hopefully be back tomorrow to talk a lot more about Spurs. But in the meantime, look after yourselves. And I'll speak to you all very soon to talk a lot more about Tottenham. Take care, everyone. Look after yourselves. Peace.